Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we're going to unpack something truly fascinating. We are decoding the hidden variables that create highly successful people. We look at champions, those rare folks standing proudly at the absolute peak of their fields, and we naturally just assume there's some sort of magic involved. But what if it's not magic at all? What if there's actually a readable, concrete equation for success? Well, we're going to build that exact equation right here, piece by piece. Okay, let's dive into this. I really want you to genuinely ponder this question for a second. What really makes a champion? Like, when we see someone absolutely dominate their field, what are we looking at? Are we looking at raw, innate ability? Are we looking at sheer, unapologetic hard work? Or is it just possible we're looking at pure, unadulterated luck? To find the real answer, we're going to break down the specific variables that make a champion. All right, let's kick things off with variable 1, the raw material. Let's define our very first variable here, which is talent. It's the spark. It's that innate knack you're just born with. Basically, it's the starting line of our equation. You see, studies on expertise, especially the foundational work by researcher K. Anders Ericsson, they show that talent gives you an undeniable head start. Prodigies tend to hit developmental milestones significantly faster than their peers. Think of the legendary Jimi Hendrix, for example. His natural, almost instinctive flair for the fretboard of a guitar was just unreal. That was raw material he was simply gifted with. But, and this is a really critical caveat, talent is literally just the seed. It's like clay, right? And clay doesn't just magically sculpt itself. Without actually putting in the work, your talent is really just a shiny what if. Honestly, there are plenty of profoundly gifted people out there who never even touch a podium. And why is that? It's because they simply don't take the time or effort to mold that raw material into something sharp. So talent gets you to the starting line, sure, but it definitely doesn't run the race for you. Moving right along to variable 2, setting the stage. We call this second variable timing. Now, if talent is the seed, think of timing as the soil. It dictates whether the spotlight is shining directly on you or if you're stuck in a total blackout. Timing is all about the culture, the tools, the tech, and the audience that just so happens to be available when and where you are born. Ultimately, timing determines whether our raw, natural abilities are beautifully amplified or entirely muted. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what I mean. Imagine Jimi Hendrix born into the 1960s. The culture is right in the middle of a massive rock explosion. The electric guitar exists. The stage is totally set to amplify his specific, unique talent. Now, imagine the exact same Jimi Hendrix with the exact same biological genius, but born in 1200 AD. There's no electric guitar. There's no rock audience. The stage simply doesn't exist. A genius born out of time has literally no stage to perform on, completely proving that timing is absolutely everything. And unfortunately, history is littered with examples of bad timing. Take Rosalind Franklin, an incredibly brilliant scientist. She's a prime example of a tragic hero in the scientific community. Her groundbreaking work on the structure of DNA was heavily overshadowed simply because the scientific world of her time just wasn't ready to amplify her voice. Her genius was muted by the era she lived in. The culture simply couldn't amplify her. Next up, variable 3, the deliberate grind. Okay, I really want this massive number to grab your attention. 10,000. Now, you've likely heard of the famous 10,000 hours rule that gets thrown around constantly. It's often attributed to the researcher I mentioned earlier, K. Anders Ericsson. It's totally become a cultural catchphrase for mastering a skill. But you know what? It's actually often entirely misunderstood. Yeah, Ericsson's actual point wasn't just about casually logging time on a clock. His real point was about deliberate practice. We're talking focused, brutal effort that actively pushes you towards your absolute ceiling. It's about sacrifice, guys. It's skipping the parties, it's shredding on the guitar until your fingers literally bleed, and living totally broke just to chase the dream. It's about pushing yourself as hard as humanly possible towards your biological cap, that absolute ceiling of your potential. A phenomenal example of this is tennis legend Serena Williams. She's the ultimate showcase of maximizing potential through pure sweat. She didn't just coast on her natural athletic talent, not at all. She smashed through barriers with relentless discipline. She actively pushed the absolute boundaries of her genetics, her resources, and her mental stamina. Champions exactly like her prove that serious effort maxes out what's biologically possible. Let's move to and see how this builds when we actually combine what we have so far.
So talent plus timing? Well, that gives you a naturally gifted sprinter born in the era of global sports and high-tech stopwatches. Basically, Usain Bolt's at the Olympics, but that exact same talent in the year 1800, and, well, he's just a fast guy running in a field. What about talent plus potential? A naturally musical kid with endless drive becomes a master violinist, but without that grit, they're just the annoying neighbor plucking strings next door. And timing plus potential? A decent coder working super hard during a massive tech boom can easily outshine an absolute pre-digital genius who is stuck in the wrong era.
Which finally brings us to variable 4, the wild card. Now prepare yourself for a pretty startling scientific truth. A 2018 study published in Nature Communications modeled success and found something incredibly humbling. When you have a pool of equally talented, equally hardworking people, it is actually random events that often decide who hits the very top. I mean, effort and talent, they really only set your odds. But luck actually rolls the dice. Let's look back at Hendrix for a second. His talent and his brutal grind got him onto a stage in New York. He totally bled for his craft. But the thing that truly launched him into the stratosphere? It was the pure luck of an A&R guy named Chaz Chandler happening to walk into that specific club on that specific night by absolute pure chance. The grind got him ready, sure, but luck is what got him noticed. So luck is essentially the uncontrollable wind in your race, and it takes so many different forms. It can be a random break, like someone walking into a club. It can be external chaos, like a war breaking out, a global pandemic, or, even a random power outage right before your biggest show. These are things you literally cannot control that can totally derail your entire grind. And lastly, there's competition. You might be world-class, absolutely elite, but if someone else just happens to be fractionally better on that specific day or gets a little luckier with the judges, you're walking away with silver, not gold.
Okay, let's pull back and put it all together. The champion's equation.
So the crucial point is, to build a champion, you literally need these 4 variables stacked exactly like this. You need the talent, right? That gets you to the starting line. You need the timing to ensure there is actually a race to run in the first place. You need to absolutely maximize your potential through brutal sweat and sacrifice. And finally, you need luck, the wind, to be blowing at your back rather than directly in your face. A true champion needs all 4 of these clicking perfectly at once.
Let's look at this exact equation in flawless action with Michael Phelps. He was born with the perfect swimmer's build. Okay, that's his raw talent. He trained like an absolute machine, constantly pushing his biological ceiling. There's the potential. And he just happened to be born into an era with massive Olympic funding, high-tech pools, and access to the world's absolute top coaches. That is beautiful timing and pure luck all aligning perfectly. Which leaves us with a deeply, deeply humbling reality. Champions aren't just better, they are perfectly positioned. You can give 100% of yourself, you can bleed for your craft, and you still fundamentally need the universe to just nod in your direction. Luck is the ultimate guest that you simply cannot RSVP. And I really want to leave you with this final thought. Yes, the fact that luck plays such a massive, uncontrollable role can feel entirely unfair. But does that unfairness actually diminish the achievement? Or does knowing that a champion had to wrestle every single piece into place and somehow survive the chaotic variables they couldn't even grip actually make the ultimate victory so profoundly beautiful? Think about that the next time you see someone standing on the podium. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep pushing your potential, and I'll catch you next time.